Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show. Before the free show. No.
Welcome in to the Dallas Cowboys post-game show.
Why are you being mean?
Greg.
It's Monday. Be nice.
I am being nice.
This is not nice.
We're talking football. This is Texas football today. The Cowboys are within our purview. Did you watch the game last night?
Yes, I watched the game. I'm a sicko, and I'm going to watch all of them, and I'm going to be mad after every single one of them. I do have some hot takes, though.
That's why we're doing this.
Okay, well.
Because you're welcome.
No, I was talking, Mallory and I both agreed on this. I don't know. So, one, Jerry definitely pulled a Jerry and let the news slip about Dak. Like, I'm sure that the PR people were like, gosh darn it, he did it again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was news that definitely would have come out today, but I don't know if it was Jerry's move to say it, but that was classic Jerry. So there's one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the fact that Dak is having surgery on his thumb makes me feel worse or makes me feel better, because the stance that I'm at right now is, one, that stinks. Here we go back on the stinking Cooper Rush train, which is just not a train that anyone wants to be on. Secondly, I don't know if it makes me feel better, because I think I was honestly more concerned with the way that offense looked yesterday, thinking that Dak just woke up and was bad at football all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there was, like, a slight part of me that was like, whew, okay, he's not just bad at football. But also, crap, now we have, 4, 5, 6 weeks of everyone being hurt.
Sounds like 8.
Cool. Go get Jimmy G. Don't let him just sit there. We don't need to be on the Cooper Rush train, because the same thing will happen. Cooper Rush will come out against the Bengals. He'll muster something off, and he'll be good. And everyone will be like, Cooper Rush. And then the next 4 weeks are going to be just awful after that. It happens every time. I am hurt. I get so irrationally upset about this football team. I don't learn.
I just want to give you this safe space.
It's not safe.
It's very safe. Nobody's going to judge you here.
Everyone's going to judge.
China's wearing her cowboy shirt today, and I went to her and I said, "You're very brave."
Yeah.
And she said, "Thank you."
I have a new really awesome cowboy shirt. It's very simple, but it's very soft, and I had full intentions on wearing it today.
Yeah, but
I sit in the crazy part of the office where y'all like to badger me anyway, so wearing a cowboy shirt would not have made it any easier.
So I'm not a Cowboys fan. Not a Cowboys hater. I'm just kind of I enjoy watching them because I have a lot of friends who are Cowboys fans, and I want them to be happy. So I guess, theoretically, I root for the Cowboys because I want my friends to be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For example, my little brother went to Arkansas. So, most time I root for Arkansas because I want my brother to be happy.
Yeah.
Things like that. Can I give you my opinion on the Cowboys?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a really poorly put together football team.
Yeah.
I think that they are a team that forgot some pieces.
Yeah, they literally
They feel like they were building something together, and then they were just this seems good. It's like, well, what if one of your offensive linemen gets hurt? Then what?
Yeah, I saw a tweet last night that literally put it into perspective, and someone was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm shocked that a team that gave up all their best players is not doing well." It's literally that. We had a really good thing going with that offense. Now we have no wide receivers. And then the offensive line is the same thing every single year. They're touted going to be the best offensive line, and then one person gets hurt, and then it's done. Leighton Vander Esch, how long until he gets hurt? The defense looks like butt. It's bad.
The thing that I thought was really interesting, and Dak Prescott getting hurt sucks. But that's unfortunately there's nothing you can do about it. And there's very few teams in the NFL that feel good about their backup quarterback situation, right? The Niners do. That's about it. And then maybe if you drafted a guy, you've got another guy. Maybe the Steelers. The Steelers have what's his butt.
TJ Watt.
No.
For
behind Trubisky.
Oh yeah.
The Pitt kid. The Pitt kid.
Yeah.
They probably feel okay about their backups.
Right.
That's one thing. But this, it is striking to me. Watching that game last night. As just a football fan, I was like, okay, I can absolutely see what Todd Bowles was doing and designing this game plan. He's like, all right, we're gonna make sure CeeDee Lamb doesn't hurt us, and then we're gonna win.
Yeah, it was literally
basically
that.
it.
There's nothing else. I mean, Micah Parsons is a star. There's no doubt about that. But
doesn't
he's
catch passes.
One shining star on anything, on offense or defense. It doesn't help him.
He doesn't catch passes.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, they were it got to the point where they were able to bracket cover Dalton Schultz. And I like Dalton Schultz, but he's not Travis Kelce.
Well, and the offensive line won't be good enough to rely on Zeke to run the ball 800 times. And inevitably, Zeke always gets hurt. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're going for here, but it's not good. I also think, and we've talked about this before with Mike McCarthy, I don't ever like to say, well, I could do a better job than that because I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to coach a football team.
Correct.
That being said, there are fundamental things that man does, like his time clock management, that my mom could do better than that. Love you, Trish, but she doesn't know offensive scheme. But there are certain parts of a game that a coach should be able to know.
I just want to let you know, Trish, I would trust you with my football team. Anyway, my Uncle Dave's team lost too. The Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Dave's team.
Ish had a tweet yesterday that was like Nebraska head coach Matt Rule is going to sound really good, and
listen,
it's coming.
You're willing it into existence.
It's coming.
Anyway, hit the Team Expo. Pickle! Post-game show. Hit the air sign. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a program that just keeps on doing this show. My name's Greg Tupper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local, mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks, the executive producer of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. It's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends.
How you doing?
Good. We should have done a North Texas post-game show because they actually won.
They did win.
It's caw.
Yeah, I know. I got text message from you. Very sober text messages from you. Today is Monday, September 12th, 2022. 73 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday.
This sounds like a big one. You're revving up for this.
To Texas high school football royalty Andrew Luck.
Oh, nice.
Turns 32 today. Happy birthday to Andrew Luck. It's episode 1454. On today's show, my friends, big show. Big, large show. We got Monday Morning Fallout. We're going to overreact to the football weekend. Plenty to overreact to, I would say. And that will not involve the Cowboys. If you missed our Cowboys talk, we did it in the pregame. In the pre-show, rather. Then,
you didn't miss much.
We'll be joined by the head coach of the 3-0 Dallas Conrad Chargers,
my God.
Josh Ragsdale. They're 3-0 for the first time in ever.
Let's go.
Literally the first time in program history. And so we're going to take the opportunity to talk to our buddy Josh Ragsdale about it. That's coming up here in a moment. Back half the show, we're going to unveil the Week 4 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press official Texas high school football rankings. So stay tuned for that. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Nick Morton, Ed McElroy, Christopher 100, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas.
Howdy, 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 friends. It's a big, big Monday.
Mega Monday.
Mega Monday. And so there's only one thing to do to kick off Mega Monday right. Pickle! Hit the air raid sound. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, of course, when we overreact to the football weekend. Oh, there was a lot of overreacting this weekend. So we're going to try to sum it all up for you. But anyway, let's start with my three big thoughts. Thought number one, Kings stay Kings. I thought this week in the Texas high school football landscape, one of the overwhelming overall headlines that I saw, and one of the big overarching themes, was teams that are usually on top stay on top. Even after early scuffles, they rise back to the top. Let me give you a couple of examples.
Okay.
Galena Park North Shore took on Spring Westfield. Of course, they've won 3 titles in the last 4 years. They took on Galena Park North Shore. They beat them 55-25.
They took on Spring Westfield.
Spring Westfield, yeah. They beat them 55-25. I'm here to tell you that was not a 30-point game.
No, not at all. That was garbage time points for Westfield.
I'm here to tell you that was a good old-fashioned butt kicking is what North Shore did. North Shore, and I say this with all due respect to the number one team, at least for now, in Class 6A, the 3-time defending champs in Austin Westlake, North Shore looked like the best team in the state on Friday night.
And they didn't do it in the air. It was all on the ground. I mean, it was insane.
If they are going to run the ball like that, y'all are all in big, big trouble.
Yeah, there's no stopping that.
They stayed on top. How about Allen? Early season scuffle. Just real ugly week 1. Nah, don't worry about it. They go out, get an excellent win over Arlington Martin.
A 2-0 Arlington Martin team.
A top 10 Arlington Martin team. Allen stays back on top. Let's bounce back down to 2A. Well, Shiner.
Yeah.
Shiner was a team that loses their opener. We have big concerns about Shiner. Don't worry about that. An incredible performance by them to bounce back and beat
Poth.
Number
6 in 3A Division 2.
What about Refugio? Refugio, same situation. Lose their opener. Oh, my gosh. What's wrong with Refugio? Well, all they did was they punched up a full classification, 2 divisions, to take on a top 10 team in 3A Division 1 in Edna, and they beat him soundly. 200th win for Jason Herring at Refugio. These programs, we've said before that the toughest one to win is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're on top, you just have to defend the castle. That's not easy.
No.
But these teams have been on top for a while for a reason. Katy, on Saturday, edges out Katy Tompkins to take command of that district. Let's be real, to take command of District 19-6A. They stay on top. And that was the real theme for me over the weekend, was these programs that we've come to expect to be at the top have remained on top and defended that spot. Even if they faltered earlier,
right,
they found their way back to the top.
And all of those teams are teams that won in week 2, but that wasn't enough of a check mark to be like, oh, okay, you can really store that week 1 loss away.
Now,
it's confirmed.
They're back.
2-point verification.
Thought number 1. Thought number 2, no offense. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. No offense.
I was like, did I type it wrong?
So in the college football ranks across the state, I thought that this was a real showcase of teams with offensive problems.
Yeah, it was
Especially,
a yucky weekend.
Because let me just ask you a couple of teams.
Okay.
Pickle. So Texas plays Alabama super tight. I think there's a lot of people. I mean, they're ranked now after losing. But this was they played them very tight, played them very well. Mm-hmm. How does Texas feel about their offense right now?
Oh, big question marks. And I think it's more than just a lot of it's the injury. But the defense carried that game.
Absolutely.
Literally until the very last drive, the defense looked better than I've seen a Texas defense look in years.
But there are, I think, some serious questions about the offense.
Yes.
Right? Let me ask you, how are A&M fans feeling about their offense right now?
They are ready to set Kyle Field on fire. It looked atrocious. And I hate to say it because we love Haynes King, but it looked atrocious.
It looked awful. They scored 7 points. They scored 14. They only scored 7 offensively against Appalachian State. And let me tell you guys, there are better – Appalachian State, I think, is a decent Sun Belt team.
Yeah.
There are better teams on their schedule than Appalachian State.
Yes.
Starting this week. Mm-hmm. And that's 2 weeks in a row that we've had big issues, big questions about the A&M offense, specifically at quarterback and specifically on the offensive line. Let me ask you another question, Pickle. How's Houston feeling about their offense?
Not good at all. They shot themselves in the foot early, which that was in and of itself.
Started super slow.
But after that, I mean, they couldn't get – Tank Dell had a long touchdown run that got called back. But then other than that, it took him until the second quarter to even get anything going.
The other thing about them, I think they're really missing Alt McCaskill right now.
Yes, very much.
Who's their number 2 weapon after Tank Dell?
No, they don't have one.
It might
Clayton Toon running?
It might be Matthew Golden, the freshman.
Yep.
It might be Matthew Golden, the freshman.
Where was he from?
Klein Forest.
Somewhere down in the Houston.
Klein Kane. Klein Meadow. Let me ask you, how's Baylor feeling about their offense?
Man, yeah, it was just another really slow start that just never felt like, even with a slow start, it just never felt like it picked up.
I like Blake Shapen. Mm-hmm. They can't throw the ball. They do not have a passing attack that you have to respect in any sort of meaningful way.
No.
So if they are not running for 5 yards a carry, they are eminently beatable.
Yeah, and they were up there in the mountains. Like, realistically speaking, it should be a lot easier to get some kind of passing game going up there, and they let a BYU defense come in and just torch them.
I thought the overwhelming feeling coming out of this week. No, this isn't everybody, right? I think SMU's feeling pretty good about their offense.
Texas State got the dub.
I think Texas State got the dub. Rice showed out against McNeese. I thought North Texas's offense looked good.
It did.
It's not everybody, but I think as far as those teams in the upper echelon, we're almost certainly not gonna have a team in the college football playoff from Texas this year. I hate to break that to you. I don't think
Houston was the biggest hope.
Houston was the biggest hope. we're probably not. The state of Texas is probably not having one. And what you can do is you can blame the offenses.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it is.
Tex looked good.
Tex 2-0. Big game this week. Thought number 3, an odd week ahead. So I was looking at the week, start my week 4 prep for Texas high school football, and it's a strange week. Part of it is because there's a lot of buys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of buys. If you're a big school snob, it's a thin week.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a big school snob, you've got a couple ones. Prosper and Denton Geyer's pretty good. Lufkin and Longview is suddenly very interesting after Lufkin's win this week. We'll talk about them in a moment. That's about it.
Yep.
I mean, I hate to be like that, but like that's about it as far as like real high-profile games, the big school ranks. Now, and some of the other games that are super interesting this week come with like real like not asterisks, but they're real interesting, like Brock and Gunner.
Love it. Cal Allen and Cuero.
It's an odd week if you're a big school snob. If you're a small school snob, a lot of good stuff out there. You got to dig a little bit this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's not handed to you like it's been the first 3 weeks because we're getting into bye weeks, we're getting into district play.
Mm-hmm.
But it is going to be a different looking week of Texas high school football in week 4.
Lano and Coleman.
That's my 3 big thoughts. 3 helmet stickers. A helmet sticker to Langham Creek running back Jonathan Hill. Jonathan Hill ran for 237 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground as Langham Creek gets a really nice win this past week, improving to their first win of the year. They go out there and they were able to beat Cy Ridge in a big way. And a helmet sticker for Jonathan Hill. A helmet sticker, UTSA wide receiver Zachary Franklin. 10 catches, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns receiving. They needed every bit of it against Army, against the troops. They go to overtime. I threw it out there, but I guess you could say the same thing about UTSA. I said about Houston, but I was like, UTSA play a normal game challenge.
Yeah, it's
you know
not
what I
gonna
mean?
happen.
Like
triple overtime, double overtime.
They don't know how to do it.
No,
but they get the win, important win. And a helmet sticker to bottom running back Jaron Ross. The Purple Warriors are now 2-1 after a win this week. As Jaron Ross, they go out there and they beat Paris North Lamar. Jaron Ross goes for 251 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. A helmet sticker for bottom running back Jaron Ross. 3 teams to watch. Frisco Reedy. Did you see this? Did you hear about this?
I didn't.
Frisco Reedy beat Frisco Lone Star.
Ah, I did hear about that.
Mm-hmm. And kind of beat them. They kind of beat them in a way that I didn't expect, because this has been a Reedy offense that has been lighting it up. They hung 69 on Azle in the opener.
Nice.
They beat Denison by 35 points, 34 points in week 2. They've been cruising offensively, and they won a low-scoring 13-7 slugfest. And now Frisco still kind of looms, but I think they're in the catbird seat in District 6-5A Division 1. I think that's a huge win for Chad Cole's squad, and a big, big win. Keep an eye on Frisco Reedy. The Lions are for real. Keep an eye on Texas A&M Kingsville. So we had heard about this, but A&M Kingsville is a team in the Lone Star Conference that I think you need to be paying a little bit of attention to. The Javelinas, under Coach Mike Salinas, are now 2-0 to start the year. They go to Sul Ross State and they get a big win. Or rather, they host Sul Ross State and they get a big win. I'm not here to tell you, oh man, that's some sort of incredible, win for them. They should beat Sul Ross State, in my humble opinion, right?
Yes. But
it's the way that they're doing it. Okay, Christian Anderson, their running back, had a really nice game. Jacob Cavazos threw for 233 yards and a touchdown. There's a team that looks different. And looks like they're on the come up. So keep an eye on A&M Kingsville. And finally, Lufkin. So Lufkin is suddenly right back on our radar. Coach Todd Quick, the past couple of years have been a little bit underwhelming. But Friday night, they went out and they went to A&M Consolidated and got a win. Got a big win, 31-14. And that's the biggest win for that program in a minute.
Yeah.
And so now they enter district play, and they enter district play against Longview this week. Get them at home, out there in the sticks.
The crowd's going to be ready to go.
Keep an eye on Lufkin. I'm intrigued. Beat Longview this week, and I'm in.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued by what Todd Quay's got going. 3 to C. We mentioned it. Gunner and Brock. One of the strangest games of the week.
Yes.
Gunners 2-0 haven't played anybody even remotely close to them to their weight class. They played Trinity Christian Cedar Hill, and then they played Trinity Christian Addison. Right? They beat both of them. Pretty handily. Brock is 0-3, and they have played the toughest schedule in American history.
Yes.
I tweeted this. I'm only kind of joking when I say Brock might be the greatest 0-3 team in Texas high school football history.
Yes.
Can they get off the schneid against another absolute, like, it's the fourth huge test for Brock, who hasn't theoretically passed one yet, and it's the first huge test for Gunner.
Yes.
Find out a lot this week. Going off the board on my college pick, SMU's at Maryland on Saturday.
Did you see the line on this?
I think Maryland's a 2-point favorite.
3.5 is what I saw, which is okay.
It's a Big Ten team.
Yeah. I mean, they get that 3.5 because basically that's a pick'em game because they're
On
at
the road,
Maryland.
Yeah, on the road.
I don't like that.
You might win it. Well, we'll have to ask our financial advisor, Mike Craven, later.
This is true.
Very interested in this. SMU has to go on the road to a Power 5 opponent. How do they handle themselves? First, I think real test, all due respect to North Texas. Real test for Rhett Lashley and company. And finally, another big game.
I love this one.
Hawley and Albany. We'll get to the rankings here, but these are, let's just say, top 3 teams in their respective divisions. Huge game out there in Albany. We'll find out a lot about both of these teams. That is 3 to C, and that is Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Invite you to go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Go do that. That'd make me pretty happy.
That'd be a good addition to a Monday.
Pickle, can I tell you about our teams of the week?
Let's do it.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to honor one team from each classification with the Ozarka Fueled by Nature Team of the Week Award. The teams selected throughout the course of this program have exemplified the best in Texas high school football. Your Week 3, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Teams of the Week. In 6A, Round Rock Westwood. Coming off a 1-9 season in 2021, the Warriors have stormed into 2022 with a vengeance, moving to 3-0 on the young season with a thrilling 49-42 overtime win over Bastrop. In 5A, about to talk to their coach, Dallas Conrad. The Chargers made history on Friday night, jumping out to a 40-15 halftime lead before closing out a 46-22 victory over Rice, improving to 3-0 for the first time in the program's 15-year history. In 4A, Pearsall, the Mavericks romped past San Antonio Memorial 50-0 on Thursday night, improving to 3-0 on the season, a remarkable feat considering the Mavs had won just 4 total games in the past 3 seasons, including a winless 2021. In 3A, Dalhart, days after a tragic death of junior varsity player Yahir Cancino, the Golden Wolves earned their first win of the season with an inspired 43-35 upset win over Spearman. In 2A, Refugio, punching well above their weight class against a state-ranked 3A Division I Edna team, the Bobcats were not intimidated, taking the fight to the Cowboys to earn a 40-22 win and nab coach Jason Herring's 200th victory at the helm of the program. In 1A, Whiteface, in one of the biggest upsets of the week, the Antelopes went to Turkey and stunned state-ranked Valley 64-50, improving to 2-1 on the season. And the private school ranks, Waco Methodist Children's Home. Playing without 3 starters due to injury, the Bulldogs stunned defending state champion Wiley Prep 46-40 to earn its first win of the year. So those are your Week 3 Ozarka Fueled by Nature Teams of the Week. Congratulations to all the teams. We salute you. For more information, visit TexasFootball.com. And now, let's pay some bills.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state.
It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Every high school athlete wants to play on the big stage, and every parent wants their child to be the best. But is making your target list of schools based on top 25 rankings really the best strategy? What about academics, location, coaching style, financial aid? There's so many factors that should be considered when selecting a college program outside of on-field performance. Our friends at Athletes to Athletes have put together a recruiting guide centered around providing a broader, more holistic perspective about what your college experience could be. It's got checklists, do's and don'ts, key strategies, much more. It's a 22-page guide that covers everything you and your family should know as you walk through your college recruiting journey. And now, for a limited time only, Athletes to Athletes is offering this guide for free to our audience. Go to athletes.com/Dave Campbell today. Download the free college recruiting guide. That's athletes.com, athletes.athletes.com/Dave Campbell, or scan that QR. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. There's big things popping in Dallas ISD. Dallas Pinkston's 3-0. Did you hear about that?
I did.
The Vikings. Another team that's 3-0 are the Conrad Chargers, and they are 3-0 for the first time in program history. And on the phone line now, we're pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Dallas Conrad Chargers. It's Coach Josh Ragsdale. Hello, Coach.
Hey, go Chargers.
How are things in beautiful Dallas, Texas?
It's beautiful today. Weather's beautiful. We got our AM practice in this morning, so it's a whole lot more fun after a practice when you're 3-0.
Well, and you guys are 3-0 for the first time in program history. And I guess my question for you is, like, could I, just a layman, walking into that program, would I be able to sense that this is a 3-0 program? Is there a different vibe right now within the program?
Yeah, 100%. You know, we were worried this year. You know, we moved to first period athletics, so our kids are not used to practicing in the morning, and it was tough. Mm-hmm. We got that first win. It got a lot easier to practice. Second win, it was a whole lot easier. After 3 wins, everybody was early today. Everybody was chipper at the beginning of practice. It definitely makes for a better atmosphere.
There's so much to break down here as far as your improvement is concerned, and moving to 3-0 for the first time in program history. You guys have already matched your win total from their first 2 seasons there at each of your first 2 seasons at Conrad. From your perspective, what is the biggest difference? What is it that has you guys off to this historic start?
You know, prior to me being here, I really don't know. Mm-hmm. I was removed from Dallas ISD for a few years, so I really don't know, what the reason for, the non-winning was. When I was hired on a Thursday. So my first day in the building was a Thursday. Mm-hmm. I got to meet the team on Friday, and we were leaving for spring break. And so I got to talk to them for a little bit. Hey, when we get back from spring break, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I'm excited to get going. Off season is going to be going. And we never came back because of COVID. And so never had an off season with them. So I visited them with them for 1 day, didn't get to see them again until the beginning of the next football season. Year 2 was difficult because Dallas ISD was mainly virtual. Mm-hmm. And off season was tough again because the kids aren't at school. It's tough getting them up here for off season. This last spring was our first true off season with them. So things finally felt normal. There was some consistency. We were working out daily. They knew our expectations. They met those expectations. And so, the big thing, I think, especially going into this year, was that offseason. First 2 years without it's difficult. And I'm telling you, offseason and track, in my mind, are the 2 things that you better be doing well in order to be successful in football. And we weren't able to do those 2 things. And so we had a real good track season last year. We actually won a JV Boys District Championship in track. Varsity competed, and we had a great offseason. And our kids will tell you that's the two reasons why we're 3-0 right now was our track season we had and our off season.
Josh Ragsdale, the head coach at Dallas, Conrad here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, on one of the things that I notice is it seems like your defense is playing with its hair on fire right now. Really fantastic. Last year, you guys gave up around 26 points a game, I want to say. Something around there. 22 maybe it was. This year, through 3 games, around 9 points a game. What has been the biggest difference on the defensive side that has you guys really rolling right now?
I think number one, me stepping away and giving the defense fully to my defensive coordinator. When we started 3 years ago, I ran the defense. It's a defense, I've run all my life and as a coordinator and hired a good young defensive coordinator to get ready to take over. About midway through last year, he took over. And this year it's been his thing, and he's better than me. He's a better coach than me. And it's been fun to sit back and watch him. His name's Coach Michael McNatt. He has the kids playing way above their level of athletic ability or their level of football ability. He has them believing and doing things that in past those kids thought they couldn't do. And so we're very sound. We're flying to the ball. We're playing great coverage. We have 3 different secondary kids with 2 interceptions each. We have a 4th kid that's got an interception. So, 7 interceptions through 3 games. They're being tested and they're winning the test. And so up front, defensive line-wise, Dietrich McElroy, who's having a breakout season. He transferred us from Mesquite Horn last year, got him late, and so didn't get a whole lot of playing time last year because he was learning the defense. And this year he's just been a man among boys. And so he's doing a wonderful job. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is trusting that defensive coordinator and saying, hey, it's yours. And I don't mess anything up.
That's listen. That's the name of the game sometimes. So then let's flip over to the offensive side. And it's hard not to notice what your quarterback's doing in LaDavian Frost Howard. This is or Frost Harris rather. This is a guy who is just a sophomore. Was kind of thrust into the quarterback role halfway through his freshman season last year. And he has been razor sharp through the first 3 games of your season. How much have you seen him grow, and what is it about your QB1 that really sets him apart?
Number one, he's a competitor. He's one that came to us from our middle school. We knew right away that the possibility of him playing as a freshman was there. We didn't want to do it, but it became a necessity, and we did. And he stepped right in. His first varsity throw last year as a freshman was a touchdown against Bruce, and that was good for him because it showed him, hey, I can do this. And I think his best game last year, even though it was a game we didn't win, truthfully, you watch his highlight film, his last game last year, or his best game, was against South Oak Cliff. And you sit there and watch the plays that he made. Now, granted, we dropped the catches, but he got the ball where it was supposed to be. He got out of the pocket when he was supposed to. He was not scared against that Sock defense last year. And that was a big, grow-up game for him. This year, we've changed offenses. I lost my offensive coordinator. He went back to West Virginia. I think the best hire that I've probably ever made is I hired Andy Gutierrez this year from Seagoville, longtime head coach at Dallas Seagoville. We've simplified things for the quarterback, for the running backs. And if you look at our offensive production, our 2 running backs, our quarterback, and our receiver, that's probably got 85% of our offense. They're all sophomores. And so it's been neat to see them do that. It speaks volumes about our future, hopefully. But Andy's done a wonderful job in finding what we're good at. We knew going into this year, offensive line play was going to be a big question mark. Very inexperienced, where the kids we had last year started for 4 years on varsity. And Andy's done a wonderful job with that. Once again, simplifying it and just letting the quarterback be an athlete. And there's a lot of times we're mad, like, hey, you should have made that throw. But it's hard to be too mad when he tucks it and runs for 35 also. So being able to run the ball and throw the ball has been huge.
You mentioned, coming back to Dallas ISD. You got your head coaching start there at Adamson back in the earlier part of last decade. I'm interested in, and you returned to DISD there in 2020. My question for you is what brings you back to Dallas ISD? Why is Dallas ISD the right place for you?
Dallas has been home for me. I grew up in Dallas. I was a Pleasant Grove kid. Would have went to Spruce High School. My family moved when I was in high school to Forney. So I've always been that Pleasant Grove kid. I can still remember my days walking to Griff's, having a hamburger, watching Spruce play, and saying, I want to do that one day. And so when I got to Adamson, I was excited for that opportunity. I fell in love with Dallas. And just like anybody, you just wonder. I wonder what it's like outside. And I did make the change. And in hindsight, it's a good growth opportunity for me. Learned a lot. And I'm excited for Dallas to give me that opportunity. And I knew that if they gave me an opportunity to do it again, that I was going to seize it and I wasn't going to let go. So Dallas is my home. I enjoy it here. I love it here. I didn't graduate from high school in Dallas, but I still consider myself a Dallas kid. And so since I've been back, Dr. Salinas has been doing a wonderful job as our athletic director with the resources she's given. If you would have told me 6 years ago I would be at Dallas Conrad practicing on a turf field, I'd tell you were crazy. And our athletic department and our board and our superintendents have done a wonderful job really spending resources and getting the resources that we need for athletics. It's definitely noticeable if you step foot on the campus now in Dallas ISD.
So now it's on to the next one, Coach. You guys are 3-0 for the first time in program history. You can be 4-0 for the first time in program history, but it's going to take you guys taking on Samuel this week in your final non-district tune-up. I'm not going to ask you to give away your game plan here on the air, but when you take a look at what you're up against with Samuel, what are you guys going to see this coming up this week against the Spartans?
We're going to see athletes. We're going to see guys, across the field that run well and that play hard. Coach Pierce has been there for a long time, and Coach Pierce's standard has not changed. That they do get after it. Special teams, they get after it. But we do too. And so that's the neat part is our kids for the first time in a while, are walking around with a little bit of, get up in their step thinking, okay, we can play with these guys. And that's the thing about our young guys. You give them a little confidence, there's no telling what they can do. And our kids are positive. But at the same time, the thing I've been most proud about them is we talk about we fear nobody, but we respect everybody. And our guys do respect Samuel. We've seen them play very well against a Poly team this year that they beat up on. Mm-hmm. And then we've seen them play not so well against another team. And we're going to treat them like the team we saw against Poly. And we're going to respect that. And our kids are ready for the challenge. We talk every week, want to know. And I know it's cliche for a coach to say that, but our kids have really bought into that. I screwed up this morning. I said something about being 3-0, and they corrected me real quick. No, Coach, we're not. We're 1-0. And then one of them corrected him, said, no, we're 0-0. We're trying to go 1-0. So, they got to correct the coaches sometimes too. But it's the team that we're about to play. Samuel can if they get things going together, they could be pretty good. And so we're hoping that they wait another week to do that. We're hoping for this week that we're able to take advantage of some of the mistakes they've been making. And I know Coach Pierce knows us. And so he's going to find out every mistake we made because that's what he's good at. And he's going to try to exploit that. So we've got to do a good job of coaching this week.
He's Josh Ragsdale. He's the first man in history to take Dallas Conrad to 3-0. He's the second winningest coach in Conrad history. Coach, appreciate your time. Please tell Mrs. Ragsdale that we said hello. And and go get it after him this week.
Thank you so much, guys.
There he goes. Josh Ragsdale, head coach of the Dallas Conrad Chargers here on Texas Football Today. This is for me, what we just did there. That is, if you were to ask me what is the ethos of our show, what is the purpose of our show, it is to spotlight stories like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're 3-0 for the first time ever. And look, am I picking Dallas Conrad to win the state championship?
Absolutely not.
No. Not at this moment. Prove me wrong. But what I would say is, that is what they've done there is such a victory and such an accomplishment. Well, and they deserve to be celebrated. Yeah, and I think that's a great opportunity.
The kids are excited to go to practice now. They've got a pep in their step.
Yes.
That's the coolest thing that you can ask for.
Absolutely. So we appreciate. And by the way, he mentioned it. Steve Pierce is an OG at Samuel. He's been there a long time. I think I'm going to pick Conrad this week.
I like it.
So there you go. And then they open district with Wilson. If you really want to send a state, go beat Woodrow. Anyway, appreciate Josh Ragsdale hopping on with us. We're at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Oh, Pickle.
Yes.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for all things football in the state of Texas, and the Tax Act Texas Bowl are proud to present the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award to the most outstanding high school football player in the state of Texas each week. Every week, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff nominates 10 candidates for that week's award based on the previous week's on-field performance. We then leave it up to you to vote at TexasFootball.com. Voting closes each Friday at noon, with the winner being announced here on TexasFootball.com shortly thereafter. Some monster performances this week for the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award. Let's get to the nominees. Alvarado running back Jaden Bridgewater carried the ball 42 times for 324 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground for the Indians. El Paso America's defensive back Mario Holguin, 8 tackles, a fumble recovery, 3 interceptions, and returned one of those interceptions for a touchdown. Dallas Lincoln quarterback Byron Eaton Jr., 426 yards and 5 touchdowns passing, and he ran for another 108 yards.
God.
It's a cool 534 yards total offense.
Jeez.
Lampasas quarterback David Flores decided to throw for 473 yards and 7 touchdowns and added 52 more yards on the ground. Centerville running back and linebacker Paxton Hancock, 299 yards and 5 touchdowns rushing, 30 yards passing. He had 8 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a sack. What about Seminole quarterback Blake Flowers, 424 yards and 6 touchdowns passing. He also ran for a touchdown. Fulshire running back Davion Godley. They keep doing this. Their offense is out of control. Their offense only scored like 56 points this week, and their scoring average dropped. Anyway, Davion Godley ran for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. He also had 4 catches for 75 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Hampshire Finette athlete Deontay Zeno. Again, I don't want to tell you what to do, but the next couple are out of control. 148 yards and 4 touchdowns rushing. 111 yards and a touchdown passing. 3 catches for 60 yards receiving and 11 tackles.
Goodness.
But wait, I bring you Panhandle athlete Landon Hack. 295 yards and 5 touchdowns rushing. 152 yards and 3 touchdowns passing. 7 tackles and a pick 6, and he kicked 5 PATs.
Ugh.
Again, I don't want to tell you how to vote. Falfurria's athlete Jamarcus Jones, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, 3 catches, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns receiving, and he had 100 yards rushing. He went 100.
That seems good.
That's got to be a limited number of people who have ever gone 100.
Yeah, it's like a triple-double in basketball, you know? That's a triple.
Except like harder.
Yeah.
Because like if you're catching the ball, you're usually not throwing it.
it.
Anyway, Jamarcus Jones from Falfurrias.
Insane.
There they are, your Week 3 Mr. Texas Football nominees. Vote early, vote often, vote now at TexasFootball.com. All right, Pickle. Just one thing left to do.
Rankings season.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is the Associated Press are proud to unveil their Week 4 Texas high school football state rankings. Dave Campbell's Texas Football has been the official rankings provider of the Associated Press since 2019, something we're very proud of. And so these are really the Texas high school football rankings of record. Let's start in the biggest classification. Class 6A, where there's a few changes in the top 10. The top 6 are entirely unchanged. Westlake holds on to their number 1 spot over Galena Park North Shore, but that gap is closing. And elsewhere, but there are 3 new entries into the top 10. 4 new entries, I should say. 3, no. Elmo Tuskegee is up 3 spots to number 7 with their win over Liberty out of Nevada. Then there is Cibolo Seal is up 5 spots with their win over Hutto to number 8. Allen is up 14 spots with their big win over Arlington and Martin. They're up to number 9. Highland Park cracks the top 10 in 6A with their win over Lake Highlands. To the back half of the rankings, Arlington Martin drops to number 11 after their loss. DeSoto up 2 spots with their win over South Oak Cliff. San Antonio Brennan remains the same there at 14. Spring Westfield drops from 7 to 15 with their loss to Galena Park North Shore. Rockwall tumbles from number 21 to number 8 with their loss to, or number 8 to number 21, I should say, with their loss to Prosper. New to the rankings, the Woodlands back into the rankings with their win over Conroe Oak Ridge to move to 2-1. Out of the rankings, number 22, Temple, who lost to College Station. To 5A Division I we go, where there are some new faces here. Longview remains number 1, but dropping with Frisco Lone Stars lost to Frisco Reedy, drops them all the way to number 9, right behind newly ranked Frisco Reedy at number 8. The top 5 now: Longview, Mansfield Timberview, Port Arthur Memorial, who rose 3 spots despite being idle, Denton Ryan at 4, and College Station at 5. Richmond Foster jumps up 4 spots to number 6. Aledo back into the rankings with their win over Justin Northwest. We mentioned Frisco Reedy. Amarillo Tascosa loses by a point to 6A Permian. We keep them in the top 10 at number 10. Out of the rankings, number 3 A&M Consolidated crashes out with their loss to Lufkin, as does number 8 Lancaster with their loss to Denton Geyer. 5A Division II we go. 5A Division II, top 2 unchanged. Argyle and Wichita Falls Rider. Liberty Hill up a spot to number 4. Fort Bend Marshall up a spot to number 5, or 4 rather. Texas High up 2 spots to number 5. Colorado Heritage up 3 spots to number 6. Into the rankings for the first time, the Midlothian Heritage Panthers. They're back up into the rankings at number 7 with their win over Waco La Vega. Grapevine, by losing to Argyle in a relatively competitive affair, they drop from number 6 to number 8. And 2 newbies into the rankings. Number 9, Montgomery Lake Creek is 3-0. They are number 9 in the state. And Port Neches Groves is number 10. Out of the rankings, number 3, Lovejoy, who lost this week to drop to 1 and 2. Number 8, South Oak Cliff at 0-3 is out of the rankings now, as is number 10, Austin LBJ, who lost to Dallas Parish Episcopal. To 4A we go. 4A Division I. The top 6 entirely unchanged. Stephenville, China Spring, Salina, Cal Allen, Bernie, and Anna, all winners, all remain the same. Little Cypress, Mauriceville up a spot to number 7. 2 new teams into the rankings. Number 8, Lumberton into the rankings with their win over Nacogdoches. Number 9, Beeville Jones at 3-0. They are up to number 9 with their win. Dumas remains the same at number 10 by surviving a scare from Perryton. Out of the rankings. Number 7, Navasota drops out, as does number 9, Waco La Vega. To 4A Division II we go, where a lot more chalky. Everyone won with the exception of number 4, West Orange Stark, who crashes out of the rankings as a result. It's hard to stay in these rankings. Mm-hmm. This is real. There's a couple of other places, 5A Division II, where you can have a couple losses and stay ranked. Not in 4A Division I. Almost entirely unchanged. Cuero up a spot to number 4. Pleasant Grove up a spot to number 5. Wimberley, Glenrose, Silsby, and Belleville all up a spot to number 6 through 9, respectively. Back into the rankings now. Number 10, Waco Connolly, unbeaten 3-0. Their win over Cameron Yo gets them into the top 10. To 3A we go. 3A Division I. Number 3, Brock is out of the rankings after dropping to 0-3. From our perspective, it's hard to keep a team that's 0-3 ranked, even as good as their schedule has been. Also out of the rankings is number 8, Edna, who lost to Refugio. Franklin, Mount Vernon at the top 2. Lorena up a spot. Columbus up a spot. Grandview up a spot, and Malakoff all up a spot. Shallowater up a pair of spots, as is Bushland at number 7 and number 8, respectively. New to the rankings, number 9, the Buckaroos of Breckenridge are 3-0 with their win over Cisco. Great win for them. And into the rankings for the first time, the number 10 Brahmas of Hallettsville, who get a big win over Van Vleck. They move to 3-0. 3A Division II now. Boy, chaos. Okay.
Yeah.
So Gunner wins, they stay number 1. Holiday wins, they beat Idalou, that vaults them to number 2. Newton beats Jasper, impressive win, that vaults them from number 5 to number 3. West Rusk beats Mineola, impressively, that vaults them from number 7 to number 4. Into the rankings for the first time at number 5 is Rogers at 3-0, a very impressive win over Troy. Bells up to number 6, from unranked to number 6. Canadian loses in overtime to Elk City, Oklahoma, 37-36. That drops them from number 4 to number 7. 2 consecutive losses for the Wildcats. Henrietta newly ranked at number 8 at 3-0. Poth drops from number 6 to number 9 with their loss to Shiner by 1 point. And Dangerfield drops from number 2 to all the way to number 10, but hang on to their spot in the rankings at number 10. out of the rankings. Number 8, DeKalb. Number 9, New Waverly. And number 10, Idalou. Chaos in 3A Division 2. To 2A Division 1, where there's almost no chaos. The only change here is Cisco's loss to Breckenridge drops them from number 6 to number 8. They are punching up a classification and play them very competitively, so they remain in the rankings. Everything else entirely the same. Top 5, Timpson, Hawley, Crawford, Shiner, and Coleman. Refugio at number 6, up a spot with their win over Edna. To 2A Division 2 we go. 2A Division 2, a little bit of chaos here. Number 2, Munster loses to Windthorst, I believe. Or no, they beat Windthorst. That seems wrong. I need to change that. They beat Windthorst, so they are up to they're back into the rankings at number 6. Albany, Mart, Burton, Wellington, Wink, your top 5. Santo into the rankings for the first time at number 9, and Bremont into the rankings at number 10. To the 6-man ranks, 1A Division 1, 1 through 9 entirely unchanged. Westbrook, Abbott, and May are your top 3. Out of the rankings, number 10, Turkey Valley, making way for the 3-0 Ira Bulldogs, who get a big win over Jayton, very impressively, 55-33. To 1A Division 2 we go, where there's a few different changes here. Number 5, Whit Harrell crashes out with their loss last week, as does number 8, Klondike. They lost to Lorraine. Lorraine moves up 3 spots with their win over Lorraine. Oakwood up to number 5. Benjamin, Richland Springs, Balmorhea, Cherokee, and Oakwood are your top 5. New to the rankings. Number 9, Sanderson. Sanderson, that's a name we have not heard in a long time. They are 3-0, and they are up to the number 9 spot in the rankings. And new to the rankings, I think maybe ranked for the first time ever, the Bobcats of Bluffdale are the number 10 team in 1A Division 2. Their win over Sydney, they moved to 3-0. The private school ranks. In the 11-man ranks, number 4, Fort Bend Christian crashes out. That makes room for the new number 5. That is Episcopal School of Dallas. Episcopal School of Dallas, the new number 5 team in the 6-man, or rather the 11-man private school ranks. Houston St. Thomas up a spot with their win over Fort Worth. Nolan top 3 unchanged. Parish Episcopal, Dallas Christian, and Austin Regents. And in the 6-man ranks, a little bit of chaos here. Is number 2, Austin Veritas loses to Pasadena First Baptist. They crash out of the rankings. First Baptist, Plano Coram Deo up 2 spots. Fort Worth Covenant Classical, was idle. They remain at number 4. New to the rankings at number 5, Lantana Harvest Christian at 2-0. Big win over Greenville Christian. So there you are, your Week 4, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press rankings. You can find those at texasfootball.com/rankings. We had some debate about a number of teams. Brock is one of them, right? Yep. I think Brock's really good, but they're also 0-3. And so it's hard to justify having an 0-3 team ranked, plain and simple. So that's, they're still on our radar. Wouldn't forget about them, but it's just hard to keep a team like that ranked. And then there's the thing that's really important to remember is that there's different classifications. I think it's harder to be in the top 10 than other classifications. 5A Division 2 kind of seems like if you can fog a mirror right now, you can be ranked.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's so much chaos going on in 5A Division 2. But 4A Division 2, everyone's winning. Everyone's got a great record. All these teams that look impressive there. So it's a little bit of art and a little bit of science right now here in Week 4. So there they go. Your DCTF AP Texas High School Football rankings. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts?
Just wanted to point out Craven has a ton of college football recap content
He was
out
in
right
Austin
now
for the Alabama game.
Yeah, so there are a ton of stuff between the 411 and the recap episode. So I just wanted to point that out one more time because if you're gonna get all your college football recap stuff, today's the day to do it.
Yes. So there you go. It's all there at TexasFootball.com. That's gonna do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's.
I take it back. Don't go read the college football stuff.
TexasFootball.com. Keep putting this on the ground. Thanks again to Dallas Conrad, head coach Josh Ragsdale for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy, which was so rudely put on the floor.
Stinking college people.
See you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.